Okay, welcome to the Museum of Aquarium and Pet History, and today is November 14th, 2023. We have an unusual 5-minute video for you today because we're going to show you some vintage fishbowl stands and antique aquariums, and we're going to go over them, and at the end they're going to be available for sale because we know that you need Christmas gifts. We know that basically you haven't done any shopping yet and you need stuff for your best friends, including these incredible items here, which the money goes to the Aquarium Museum project, the physical museum. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with the first one. All right, over here we have a mermaid stand with the dolphin feet. It's kind of in the arts and craft style. You could see the mermaids right here with the tail. You can see the mythological dolphins down here as the feet. And you could see the really unusual arts and crafts stamped thing in the middle here. Now the bowl is not original, it's a reproduction, but it's the Scarab beetle bowl. So it has these little, what they call Scarab beetles. If in fact it had the original Vaseline bowl from the 1920s, the stand would probably cost about 3 to 4 times as much. But this is a reproduction bowl, and it's about 3 gallons in size. And that particular stand is 42 inches from the floor to the top. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2 here, this is an arts and crafts fishbowl stand, also 1920s era, with amazing seahorses here, which hold the bowl. And lion's feet on the base, very heavy, hand-hammered stand, all iron. And it's got the original Vaseline fishbowl. So this is a 1920s fishbowl, all original. It's what it would have came with. And this one is probably by Phoenix Glass. That's what we're thinking. We're not positive because Phoenix, we've contacted the club and no one can give us information on what fish bowls they might have made, except for, of course, the Ruberomic, which was made by a sister company of theirs. So that is the Seahorse stand, Arts and Crafts, 1920s era, and it is 36 inches from the base to the top of the bowl. Okay, number 4 here. This is the Water Nymph aquarium stand. This is also 1920s era. The aquarium we actually made, that was all made by hand with Starfire or low iron glass. And it's got brass ceiling on the edges. It's got a little finial type decoration on the top. You've got your water nymph right here. You've got glass balls, which are called agate. And that is the glass balls here, which is very typical of this mid-1920s era stands. They made about 4 different versions of this stands. This is just one of them. You could see the hand hammering right in here in this section. And it kind of is a crossover between Art Nouveau and arts and crafts. Beautiful, and the tank holds about 5 gallons. And the height from the floor to the top is about 42 inches. Again, 1920s era water nymph aquarium stand and tank. Okay, number 5. Number 5 is a complete reproduction, and the reason is because Peerless made very few tanks. They were around from 1912, 1913 up until about 1925, and then they were out of business. They had about maybe 10 different models of tanks. The owner of Peerless was John Halterbeck, and it was out of Astoria, New York. He patented his aluminum frame aquarium in 1912. It was the only one-piece aluminum tank, and started marketing that in 1915. He also imported bird cages, and his big claim to fame, besides he was an aquarium manufacturer during a very important period of tropical fish when they first started coming into the country. But his big claim to fame was he brought in the first angelfish, the very first angelfish out of South America, and he even bred them. So this tank has LED lights. It has a very beautiful stand. It's exactly a replica of what Halterbeck made, and it was one of his rarest tanks. I've never seen one. This was a spangled galvanized steel tank, and you can't get spangled galvanized steel anymore. I've looked everywhere. So we basically did the old style of paint that crystallizes, your crystal craze type paint, and then we had the Peerless logo actually reproduced. So that is, it does come, it's ready for fish. It comes with the LED lights. And again, it is a reproduction of probably the rarest tank from about 1912 to 1915, made by the Haltenbeck company, which made Peerless Aquariums. And that tank, from the floor to the highest point, is 46 inches. All right, number 6, here's an unusual one. This is a treasure chest tank. Have no idea of the manufacturer. All custom made. They made a small production run of these because I've seen a couple of them that have come up for sale. All a little bit different, with the top being a little bit different. This is kind of a gesso material that they use on the steel top, and then they painted it this striking gold color. We added, of course, all the jewels inside to give it that sort of a deep sea look. But it's exactly as the ones, the tank is original, exactly as the ones that we've seen before out there, and not many of them, only 2 or 3. So that one is, well, the tank is 24 inches long by 12 by 12. So what are you looking at there? About maybe a 15 to 20 gallon tank, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that one, the only one that I've seen recently is one that is in Hollywood, and a prop house has it. And they rent it out to different movie sets, but it's not for sale. So this one is for sale, so check it out. Then we have number 7. This is an Eclipse fishbowl stand. Very, very nice. This was made by the Chicago Hardware Foundry, which is the Verona artistic metal trademark. So when you see Verona, that's Chicago art metal, or hardware, I should say. This is an Eclipse that usually has a planter at the very bottom. There's a sort of a ceramic, or not a ceramic, but a brass planter that would go on the bottom part. This is a Gylinder bowl, original Gylinder bowl from the 1920s. Same with the stand. The stand's 1920s. It has a small little rim chip at the top, and I think it has another rim chip at the back. So it's got 2 rim chips right here and right here. Other than that, the bowl is perfect. It holds water. This is a bowl that we call the wavy glass bowl. So it gives you the illusion, when the goldfish are in it, it sort of has a weird illusion effect to the goldfish. And it does have it's lighted from the top. We have an amber light in the top part of it. It's not a common stand. They don't come up very often. It's pretty spectacular and tall, 59 inches tall. The bowl is 3 gallons, and that is it's got a geometric design with leaves and flowers. That's from Verona Artistic Metal, otherwise known as Chicago Hardware Foundry, out of Chicago, Illinois. All right. And the last one we have, for all you jewel aquarium fans, this is a jewel aquarium, and that was the Hans Jensen Manufacturing Company, established in 1906. And this has the original plating still on it. The original chrome plating, which you very seldom ever find them with the chrome plating. This was called their modern aquarium. And they made them like 1929, and then they did this little top part in about 1931, 32. And they did this so they can put glass here to make a top for the tank, and they could add this little chrome light to it. So that was a feature that they added about 3 to 4 years later, after they came out with this modern aquarium. Hobbyists like to call this the Chrysler Building aquarium because the top design looks like a Chrysler building. The stand is a reproduction, and the top chrome hood is reproduction. The stand is reproduced exactly as the original jewel stand. I've never seen one of these jewel stands ever. So I took the catalog, and I had my talented metalsmith, Mr. Rick, reproduce the stand, and he also reproduced the chrome hood. And if you need chrome hoods, let me know. I think I have extras. I don't have extras of the stands, but we can make them if you have a jewel tank and you want a stand for it. Otherwise, if you don't have a stand or tank and you've been dying for a jewel aquarium, which is one of the most collectible antique aquariums out there, especially since they really dominated the Art Deco period of the 20s and 30s, this is a gorgeous example. It really is. The one thing about them too, they really were huge in the 20s and 30s and 40s on up to about the 1950s. And then in the 1980s to 2000, Hubbard Scientific kind of took them over, and they really just did tanks for schools. And that was pretty much it. I don't know enough about them after 2000, whether they're still in existence or not. I've seen their tanks around, so it looks like somebody's making these school tanks and using the Jewel name. But the original 3 generations that worked at Jewel, I think the grandson is the only one left. The father and the son who ran it during the thick of it, they're gone. So that is the Jewel Aquarium Modern, and that's probably, I think that's the 12-gallon model with a stand, with a hood, with a light in the hood. And that is it on the tanks. I just want to also say, if you haven't checked out the November MOAPH, you want to check out Emilio's article. It's phenomenal. It's on William Alfred Lloyd, his unpublished letters. If you've never heard of Lloyd, he actually opened the very first tropical fish store in the world. So it's got a picture of his fish store in the article, and it's got original articles, and he really had a sad life, but he was probably one of the most famous aquarists in all of the world. Sharon Weintraub did an article on German bisque aquarium mermaids. You want to check that out. She is the leading expert on German bisque aquarium ornaments. There's nobody that knows more than she does. She's a published author. She has authored, I think, at least 2 books on bisque ornaments, so you want to check those out. Odell manufacturing history, the Odell aquariums, those old timers like me, you remember Odell. The first part of Odell made incredible tanks. When they were bought out, not so much. And Phil Cooper, who actually lived it and actually worked at Odell and sold Odell tanks, he wrote this article about Odell manufacturing. Lee Finley, my good friend Lee Finley, who took a small sabbatical while he moved to Florida, he's back. And he did an article on building your own aquarium in 1862. So that's pretty cool, because really that's the startup of when the hobby came about in our country, in the United States. And don't forget my video with Frank Williams, who actually worked for Herbert Axelrod at Gulf Fish Farms. You want to check that out. So that is November, and that's it for today. Thank you guys. See you next week.